Episode 80, You're Not Meant to Fit In, or Let Silence Be Your Guide. I'm not sure what I'm going to title this. This episode is all about the most sacred aspect of being human, connecting with our truth. But how do we hear our truth? How do we know our truth when we're endlessly speaking? Or worse, mindlessly consuming? It's so easy to forget about the power of being quiet. And I get the irony of publishing a podcast about silence, considering the very act of creating an episode adds to the noise. Yet, this episode's essence is all about embracing quietude. One of the best parts about my beach bungalow here in San Diego is the stillness. It's by the beach, but the air is still. There's no street noise. There's no static in the air. Just stillness. And I can hear myself think. Not other people's thoughts. Not Netflix. Not podcasts. My thoughts. These thoughts that you're hearing right now. I'm recording this at 11 p.m. as I look at the half moon, hearing an owl hoot and the crickets chirp. I'm sipping a peppermint tea and I have my warm pup besides me as I'm meditating on silence. Life is funny in that we think we need to talk, when the reality is that it's not about how much we talk. It's about the impact we have when we do talk. Silence gives us space to chill, to get creative, and find solutions that just seem to naturally unfold when we're not rushing or when we're not speaking aloud every thought. When we're quiet, we can get more in tune with what's really true, and it becomes less important to fill the silence just because. And it's not about staying silent because we're scared of speaking up. It's more like waiting until it feels right to speak. Going beyond the ego and speaking from your soul. And that's why I might not have put out a new episode since I don't know how long it's been, quite a few months. But you know what? It's totally okay because I've been focusing on being true to myself. And my current self is bringing what's under the surface into the light. And this way, when I do share, it's with genuine resonance. And it's not to ramble. It's about making sure that when I do speak, it's because I have something to say and I don't just want to hear my own voice. Silence in this way becomes my guide. I'm here to tell you that relentless content creation to appease the algorithm gods is over. Yes, it can sometimes show short-term gains and get you to quote unquote go viral if that's really what you want. And yeah, there are many ways to go viral, but this method often prioritizes quantity over quality or selling your soul for popularity. And if you are really true to your heart and soul, you don't necessarily want to go in that direction. You don't really want to keep up with the ever-changing algorithms because it really leads to an audience that grows weary of oversaturated content, number one, and burnout, number two. And who wants that? So the challenge is really about feeding the algorithm, if you even want to consider the algorithm, which in today's day and age, everyone should, at least it's a thought in the back of everyone's mind. You want to feed it with meaningful content, but also content that truly resonates not just with your audience, but with you. I mean, you have to love what you're saying. You have to love what you're speaking about, what you're publishing. And I'm speaking to you from direct personal experience, as I do with all of my episodes. And sometimes you need a reminder of who you really are. This message is for you if you feel isolated, if you feel like you're an alien, if you don't fit in. It's okay. Take a deep breath. It's okay. You are here to bring the end of duality. You are here to pave the way for humans who are here to seek esoteric wisdom. We live in a world where depth is not always readily available, and it's even shunned. And I am here to show you how to not be afraid of your superpower. Because my superpower is to help you, to show you that you can really leave a legacy on this planet, on this earth, in a way that feels in alignment with your superpowers. If you're new to me or my podcast or my work in the world, hi, I'm Jessica Ann, and I call myself a marketing creatrix. I have been running my marketing agency, Jessica Ann Media, for over a decade now. And if you want to hear more about my backstory and how I got to where I am today, living my dream in California, you can listen to episode 76. It's called Integrity is the Only Marketing Strategy. There are plenty of other episodes where I solo publish, sharing my story. Episode 76 is one place to start. And I am here today living my dream life. And I'm sharing this not to boast, but to show you what's possible. If you had known me before as, if you knew me on the East Coast before I moved out to California, which was almost exactly 8 years ago, it was October 15th, 2016, when I hopped on a one-way flight with 2 suitcases and my dog, and I moved to California. I was a type A person hustling on the East Coast. And if you knew me then, you may or may not know the journey that it's been. And it's took a lot of courage to transform into who I am today. And change is never easy, but I really wanted to be living in California. I really wanted to run my own business. I really wanted to be the person I am today. The woman who confronts her shadows. I confront them honestly, and I actually find strength in doing so. So I hope my story inspires you to go on your own journey of truth, of intuition, of transformation. And I'm really here to share my story with you in the most authentic possible way. If you're listening to the end of this episode and you're feeling called to want to know more about working with me in some way, shape, or form, there are a few ways you can do so. Number one, I work with technology and wellness clients one-on-one with a marketing retainer, and this means you'll get personalized support. I work with companies from Fortune 500s to startups, and I primarily focus on technology and health and wellness clients. And if you want to partner with me on a marketing retainer, it means investing in a collaborative, results-oriented approach that empowers your business to thrive. The second way you can work with me is to join my podcast program, Resonance, the quantum way to start your show. And Resonance is open right now for enrollment. And I created this high-touch podcast program for creatives, spiritual leaders, and change makers who are ready to use their voice to change the world. If you want to start and scale a podcast into a globally recognized brand, enrollment for my program is now open. And I only do this a few times a year. I do it intuitively. If you are intrigued, I highly recommend signing up today. It's really that simple. And it's really easy to hear the details and to read the details on my website. If you go to jessicaannmedia.com/start-podcast, you can get all of the details. And this course is for the creatives, spiritual leaders, and change makers who are ready to start their show. It's an invitation to meet your future self, to become a light beam for the planet. It's truly an activation. It's not just your average start a podcast course. And it's called Resonance, the quantum way to start your show, because it's all about resonating with your audience, as I do on this podcast. I love being an example of my teachings, of my work in the world. And I practice what I preach. I love having this platform, this intimate medium of a podcast to share my voice, my heart, my soul with you, my dear listeners, because listening and hearing my voice is such an intimate experience. And I'm so grateful that you're here and you're even listening to the end of this podcast episode, especially as I'm sharing my services and my work in the world. It's something that I take so much pride and joy in. And I'm so glad that you're listening to me ramble. Okay, I'm officially rambling right now, but let me get to number 3 of how you can work with me. I have a one-on-one mentorship program called Humanize, and it allows you to really land in a safe space and go on a journey. And on our initial deep dive, I can really see multiple levels of your reality. And I will give you guided insights into your soul's true direction and really how you can move into the next version of yourself. As a consciousness explorer and mystic, I love giving guided insights into your life and your true direction. So if this is speaking to you, you can go on over to my website, jessicaannmedia.com/mentoring, to learn more and apply to work with me. As we wrap up this episode, let's remember that silence is not a void, but a space where clarity is born, where creativity is born. It's about listening to your inner voice and speaking when it really matters. Honor your silence, honor your truth. And by doing so, we can really not only create a meaningful connection with yourself, but create more meaningful connections with everyone around us. Thank you for listening to this episode and for joining me for this show. Until next time, experiment with giving yourself the gift of silence and see where it leads.